In this video, we are going to have our first introduction to variables. Now, I want you to take a look at the examples below. Here we have blank plus 5 equals 6, and over here we have question mark times 3 equals 36. These are examples that you may have seen so far in your mathematical journeys, and, well, over here we know that we have to fill in a number here for this blank. Well, what plus 5 equals 6? That's going to be 1. And over here, if we think about what times 3 equals 36, well, it's 12. Now, where variables come into play is we no longer just draw a line or put a question mark in. We're going to have an actual symbol to help us represent what the missing number is. And variables basically are just letters. So let's take an example of this. Here we have an old form of how we might do a problem like this. What plus 6 equals 9? Well, if we're using a variable, we can get rid of that little line, and we can put in a letter. We can put in whatever letter we'd like, so why not put in the letter D? Here, D plus 6 equals 9, and we have to try to figure out what is D equal to. Now, since this is a little bit more of a simple problem, we don't need to do a lot of work. We could say, oh, D equals 3. Because if I did 3 plus 6, I get 9. And what I've done here is I've taken the value for D and I've substituted it back into the equation. That's where this comes from. 3 plus 6 equals 9. Now, let's say we have a little bit tougher of a problem. Let's see how we can use a process called a t-chart to help us figure out what our variables are equal to. So let's start with our original example again. It's D plus 6 equals 9. So remember, D is our variable, and it just is a placeholder for some number. We're saying some number, but we're going to represent that number with a letter, D. And if we want to figure out what D is equal to, we could guess, or we can use a t-chart to help us prove that. Now, it's called a t-chart because look what I'm going to draw. I'm going to draw a line up and down through the equal sign, and then I'm going to draw a line underneath. And it kind of looks like a big T. So, now that I have my t-chart, I want you to focus on the operation that's happening here, addition. This says D plus 6 is 9. So whatever D is, we add 6 to it, and our resulting number is going to be 9. So if we want to know what just D is, couldn't we take 6 away from the answer? I would think so, because here, look. Let's say, well, we already know that the answer is 3. So let's say I have 3 here. And we're adding 6 to it, so I'll use blue. So there's my 3 lines. Here's 6 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All together, they're equal 9. So I've got D plus 6 is 9. Well, if I want to just know the D, I could just subtract these 6. And then I have only 3 left. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to use what's called the inverse operation. Since we're using addition, we'll use subtraction. So I'm going to subtract 6. And whatever happens on this side of the line has to happen on this side of the line. It's kind of like fractions that way. Or I think of it as a mirror. So 9 minus 6 on this side. Now, if we're adding 6 and we're taking 6 away, these cancel each other out. And we're left with just D on this side. And then if we solve this, 9 minus 6, we get 3. So there we have it. We've proven without a doubt that D equals 3. Let's try another example. So for this example, we have m minus 7 equals 12. So just like last time, let's create our t-chart. So draw the line down and the line across. And now think about what's happening. Some value for m, we don't know what, we have that value, and we are taking away 7 from it. And in the end, our result is going to be 12. So, just like before, if we use our inverse operations, we can solve for m. Now, what is the inverse of subtraction? Well, hopefully you say it's addition. Addition and subtraction are inverses. So if we are taking away 7, the inverse would be to add 7 to both sides. If we're taking away 7 and we're adding 7, these cancel each other out, and we're just left with m. Now, by solving this side, 12 plus 7, we get 19. Oops. We get 19. And that is our value for m. And if we were to substitute 19 back into our original equation, so 19 minus 7, 9 minus 7 is 2, 1 minus 0 is 1, we get our answer of 12, so we can check it and we know that it works out. Hope you found this useful. This was your quick little introduction to variables. Remember, variables are just letters in a mathematical equation or expression that are placeholders for a number. Usually, we're trying to figure out what that number is. If you've enjoyed this video, please make sure you subscribe and pass it along to your friends. Good luck with solving for variables.